very excited today. I got Josh Niernberg, chef, owner of Bin 707 Taco Party, soon to be Bin Burger in Grand Junction, Colorado, on the show. Josh, my man, thank you so much.
Of course, yeah. How are you, Jensen?
I'm doing great. Really good to see you. I love seeing the skateboards in the background. We're gonna have a great conversation, and I'm gonna start saying something point blank that I said yesterday that I'm gonna say again. I get to talk to people all over the country. I've gotten to travel all over the country and other countries and gotten to eat. It's what I love to do. Josh and Bin 707 are my favorite chef and restaurant anywhere in the country.
Dude, you're too kind. You're making me blush.
Look. He's embarrassed. He's embarrassed right now. I say this, and we joke about it sometimes, like, it's not, does he have the best food? It's really damn good. Is he the best chef? He's really damn good. Yet the reason that I say that and have the audacity to say that is not because I diminish anybody else. It's because Josh has challenged even my preconceived notions of what it means to be a chef, a restaurateur, the way that he thinks about it, investing in people across the whole ecosystem of what it takes to operate a restaurant is fucking profound. And so we're going to tap into just a little bit of that right now. And that's what's more important to me. Your restaurant, your tacos, your guacamole, amazing. Yet who you are within the space is really important. So now that I got Josh thoroughly embarrassed, let's talk a little bit. And this is an interesting thing. I want you to give us a high level thinking of why your people are so important, because you've had such a strong team for so many years. And it's easy for us in Denver or anywhere else to say Grand Junction, like, where the fuck is that at? And why would I care about a restaurant in Grand Junction? But you have done an amazing job of creating community there. So start with kind of the high level of what it means for you to be a restaurateur, a leader in Grand Junction, Colorado.
Well, I guess background, let's start there. I moved here, my wife and I moved here in 2007. She's native from here, from Grand Junction. I'm native from Denver. Before moving here, I worked for Larimer Group. I worked for Sean Yance. I worked for Kevin Taylor. You know, we opened a dozen plus restaurants in a 10-year span. I did that I worked the back of house. I worked in the front of house. I worked, I got my level 1 SOM certification. I, managed the bars. I was a GM, et cetera, you name it, the whole facet. And through that time, it was all about playing the game, being in front of the media, getting the diners, keeping the diners' interest, the way that it works in the Denver scene, right? There's this pretty short cycle of popularity for restaurants. It's really hard to break past that 2-year mark. So when we moved here in 2007, we moved here to take over a building that my father-in-law owns that was an existing restaurant that the owner of the restaurant wanted out of the lease. So my wife and I kind of took over the space. She's a realtor. We had planned to sell the building, keep it operating until we found a buyer for the building and move on and move back to Denver. The economy crashed.
Yeah.
2009, Grand Junction was all oil and gas. It was by far the biggest employer here. We were crushed. So here we are. I was not too familiar with Grand Junction before we moved here, but had just left 3.5 years of education in industrial design, a lifetime career in the restaurant business, moved to wine country of Colorado, agricultural hotbed of Colorado, looking around, we've got breweries, we've got distilleries, we've got farmers, we've got ranchers, we've got everything we need. We said, you know what if we do it here? What if we just figure out how to keep it going? If we do that here, we can do it as an economic driver for our community. We can make environmental impact. We can make economic impact for our community. We can use all this local sourcing, Peach Street Distillery, to build our program and put Peach Street Distillery in our well and have, local spirits in our well in 2009. Play that back. So then I'm buying vegetables from a farmer that I've got a one-on-one relationship with. So then I'm building a customer base with that farmer. Then that farmer knows somebody that just moved to town or whatever that's worked in the restaurant industry. Where are they going to send them, right? Yeah. So then we get people that, based on almost like a referral system, that have been in the industry for a long time, that are now, quote unquote, in the middle of nowhere, so to speak, in the culinary landscape, with a restaurant and/or a restaurant group of my wife and I that understand the game, understand what it takes to make a hit, popular, successful restaurant in a big city, but are doing it with the long play, doing it for the right reasons of trying to create something unique and representative of where we are. So again, that was 12 years ago now. Fast forward that through what's happened in culinary in the last 12 years and what that looks like today. What we started with 12 years ago was quite literally what's important now. If you look at like what Sarah Burrito's doing with Good Food 100, and you look at James Beard with Smart Catch, and all of these other organizations that are focusing on sourcing and ethos and everything else. Well, and we got a 10-year head start on doing that. Then play into what that means as what my day-to-day looks like. I don't want to be a 70-hour-a-week chef in a restaurant. I don't want to be the face of the restaurant. I want to teach people a craft, use products that are available for us, cultivate that as a staff, prove to our economy that hospitality can be a well-paying industry with long-term jobs, which when we opened Bin 707 in its current location in 2011, we had zero support from the business community here.
I'm sure.
And now it's, we've completely flipped the script. 2015, I joined the Grand Junction Visitor Convention Bureau and started working on their board of directors because we're proving not only can we provide jobs, but that we are, a tourism driver for our community.
Yeah.
It wasn't until 2017 that we opened Taco Party that we actually had a difficult time in promoting those restaurants. So quite frankly, the reason that you and I are having this chat kind of goes to my deliberately stepping back out, getting in front of media, going to the events, to everything else, so I can say, hey, look at us. We're doing some really cool stuff, and we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. And if we can't get more tourism to Taco Party, it's going to take down Bin 707 because the whole thing's going to crash. And then, you particularly asked about the staff and our employees, but the hires that we did in 2011, 2012, 2013, that's our family. Those are the same people that we've been doing this forever. So yeah, right now, you're interviewing me as Josh Niernberg, chef of Bin and Taco Party, but really I'm Josh Niernberg, the guy that had an idea and aesthetic that created a language of the way that we cook, that every one of us on our staff can communicate with one another, so that we are able to execute food that is representative of us, where we are, an aesthetic that we want to, continue with. And we all are able to feed into that machine. So then it's much greater than just, I want to serve X. Then it turns into, Callie's going to bring in a flour that we haven't ever worked with before. And Blaine's got, green tomatoes coming in 2 weeks earlier than we expected. And this, that, and the other thing. We can, on the fly, from multiple locations, this culinary crew that's been working together for years can spitball a couple of ideas to put together a dish that is completely representative to what we do, and recreate that. And honestly, I started by saying I was in an industrial design school, but really what that is industrial design, or rapid prototyping, manufacturing a product, right?
Yep.
And marketing.
There's several things that I want to unpack from what you just said that I think are very important, and I want to hover on them because I think people need to listen to them. The idea of whatever you want to call it, farm to table, and I won't even list all the other ways that people have marketed and branded that. But it wasn't something that you are layering on top of your restaurant. It is literally the foundation of your restaurant. So I want people to understand the end product sometimes seems like it's the same, but there is a big difference in the process of actually getting there because of the way that you invest and, to your point, create communication. This is one of the things that I really learned from you is communication. The lines of communication from the farmer to the restaurant, from the restaurant itself to its employees, taking that from the employees and the team, putting it into process, and then being able to articulate that and execute again and again and again for your guests Those are a lot of lines of communications, and people speak different languages, have different expectations, and their equity is spread in different ways. These are the type of conversations you and I have that I don't end up having with plenty of restaurateurs. There's a lot that do, but plenty that don't. And I think it's the more important conversation. And so that's what I wanted people to really know. Your ethos is baked in a very different way, and it has you have a very strong construct for making decisions for your team. And so I want to further that line and articulate that in what's happening very much in this moment. PPP, this thing that's all of a sudden so pervasive in our lives. I keep forgetting what it's actually stands for. Paycheck Protection Plan? Yes, Paycheck Protection Plan. It's really important for us to understand that that is consuming restaurants right now. I think we kind of get that at this point. You and I have had conversations now about a very different way to think about that. Talk to me a little bit about PPP and how you are thinking about the way and actually the way that you are applying that for your team, for your business.
Yeah, sure. It's not the 4 Ps. It's not the perfect paycheck protection program. Unfortunately, it's lots of problems. But you and I talked about pretty early on here. There's so much animosity to the paycheck protection, how it's not working, it's not saving restaurants and everything else. And for me, let me say that we run throughout all of our restaurants. We run over a 50% labor cost, 50% labor cost, which is absurd.
50.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Yes.
And our food cost and our liquor cost is, probably higher than most because we live in a community that has an average household income that's barely over half that of Denver's. We just can't sell food for the same price that I would be able to if we were elsewhere. But we have an expensive real estate. So what we save in real estate, we put into labor. It doesn't go into my bottom line. It doesn't go into our bank account. We just take the savings on real estate, use that to invest into hospitality, guest experience, everything else for the restaurants, so that the guest experience of the restaurants is consistent throughout 10 plus years, right? So the conversation that we had about paycheck protection program, I called and I had so much frustration that all these owners are laying everybody off and they're saying that the PPP doesn't work, and then they're taking the PPP money and keeping their staff on unemployment. As frustrating as it is to me that in my viewpoint of the PPP turning private business into essentially private unemployment insurance, the fact of the matter is it's called the paycheck protection, not the restaurant or the business protection program. That money, in our case, 50% times 10 weeks of our total revenue, was meant for my staff at least the same rate that they were previously making. The law specifically says I have to spend 75% of it on 8 weeks. To me, that means I need to spend 100% of it over 10 weeks to carry my staff 10 weeks with full pay. And the part that I can't understand, we received the PPP pretty early. Within a week of it being released, we had funds, which we were, on one hand, we were super lucky to be able to get in early enough to be able to do that. On the other hand, I'll tell you that I was working, 35 hours a day and for weeks until we were able to secure that. And I took a hell of a gamble by saying, we got to figure out how to keep our staff. So before the PPP came in, we started Bin Burger in the dinner party space because it doesn't make sense to have a 50-seat private dining room if we can't sit 50 people together for years. So let's take all of our staff, especially the high-risk ones, put them into a restaurant that's never going to see a customer in it. So all they have to do is to expo tickets, cook burgers, etc., pass that over to Taco Party, and then let the Taco Party staff actually serve that. So the first thing we did was to take all of our high-risk employees, put them in Bin Burger, start this Bin Burger pop-up, move everybody over to Bin Burger, but Bin Burger is at Taco Party, it's not at Bin 707, which are separate LLCs. So then when we got the PPP funding, the PPP funding for Bin was specifically to be used at Bin. The PPP funding for Taco Party specifically to be used at Taco Party. We had to shut down Bin Burger and walk it back to the way that it previously was. So the gamble we took in being able to bring revenue in by moving the staff saved us until we got the PPP. But then once we got the PPP, then we had to write a new menu, start a whole new concept, change everything at BIN, make BIN viable to be a takeout delivery service, which it absolutely wasn't before this. But here we are at week 6 of my PPP funding. We've laid off 0 employees, not one. We've got 5 employees with health risk that haven't worked a day, that have stayed home on full pay. The rest of us, as of right now, Mesa County will allow 30% in-house dining and patios. All of our dining rooms are locked. So we're functioning. We're doing takeout and delivery, curbside. We're not letting any guests into the business. I know without question that our tourism numbers are huge.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, let me pause you real quick. The boss just texted me and says they got robot boys. Hold on, I'll disappear for a second.
Yep.
We're gonna make these robots do our bidding. All right. This is the reset that COVID is forcing on the restaurant business. Sometimes we need a reset to rethink. All right, so I like where your head's at. This is such an important thing that, again, think too many people were thinking about it potentially, as, to your point, as a bailout. And sometimes it was masked as a bailout to kind of force people to think about the way that, look at how we're helping your restaurant. And really, to your point, it was an augment for unemployment. And so you, again, it's the mindset, the thinking. You didn't think about how is this money going to affect our business? It's like, how is this money going to affect our people? And then it's your responsibility, because you're the chef owner, yet the way that you talk, you are just the conduit to hold space for the farmer, the employees, the guest, all that. That's your responsibility. You hold and maintain space so that all those people can exist and flourish and thrive. So that mindset, I think, is very important. You then did the pivot and all the pivots and Bin Burger and the way that you are positioning your business. Maybe get into that a little bit as far as now that thinking. How are you forwarding that thinking along? How is your team helping to assist you in the thinking of how Bin Burger, how Bin 707, how Taco Party exists kind of coming out of this as you're starting to come out of your PPP money?
Sure. Every day that we start, and I think this is consistent for everybody, is open or closed. Every day it's kind of wake up and see what those challenges are going to be. Are we going to make it through the day, right? And it's this day-to-day mess that we're all living in. So we've had kind of a couple of themes that we're trying to follow and work with, and have so much unknown. And we're working with an in target, and then we're taking that in target for health risk, and we're weighing that in target for health risk against political positioning. And it's just a disaster. So for us, we're trying to stay out of the political game and just play the health game. And on the health game, then we're going to, we're kind of looking to some state guidelines, and we're looking to statistics on that end to say when it's safe for movement within the state or within a couple of state region, that's when we'll be comfortable to, look at what we're going to do to reopen. But unfortunately, Bin 707 hasn't done anywhere close to the revenue that it should be to be able to continue to carry a staff of 50 doing takeout, the staff of 50 that is completely hospitality based with, a host at the front door, at least a host at the front door from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. What does that person do when we just have takeout and, pre-order, call-in takeout, not even walk-up takeout and delivery?
Yeah.
So we had originally, this is going to change our business completely. Bin is going to close for lunch. I will say that so many things have kind of come to light through all this, and everything that's happened through this. The playing fields are so different, right? But let's start by saying that Bin is open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week, straight through. Taco Party's open for lunch and dinner, previously 5 days a week, now 7 days a week, straight through. So Taco Party has had a greater demand and has had actually increased hours to help use that PPP funds to create a product for our guests that is keeping our sales pretty close to flat at Taco Party without a dining room, which is just incredible. And it speaks so much to our community and what we're doing. And, you know, that part's awesome. So there's a huge ray of hope with something that quite literally 3 years ago, I was spending half of the year trying to get myself in front of media or events just to create some recognition. This finally paid off, and it's gonna make it for the first time ever.
That's great.
Whereas Ben now, there's no way that it's viable to be open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. So as soon as the PPP's done, then we're gonna be forced to condense Ben to just dinner only, probably 6 days a week, maybe 5, and really play the return game. So how much return can we get for the effort so that we can actually increase profit margins to be able to stay viable there, which is going to displace a good number of employees from there. So the only way that I see fit to be able to do that is to then go back to this dinner party space, Ben Burger concept, and get it ready to go so that it's able to catch everybody again, to move the staff back from JN Restaurants LLC, DBA Ben 707 Food Bar to Taco Corp Worldwide, best LLC name ever.
Yeah.
DBA Ben Burger, to catch that staff so that we still don't lose any staff. And it's going to, you know, the things that come out of it, the silver linings are, all of a sudden, here I am in a business that's going to be doing delivery burgers and tacos 7 days a week. Something I have never, ever aspired to do. Yeah. But I'm pretty stoked on the way that our whole crew and team is going to build this thing into something that's so unique, unlike anywhere else that I'm familiar with in the country, that has, again, you know, Good Food 100, James Beard Smart Catch at a $12 price point for takeout and delivery.
Amazing. So, and I think, so when I hear you talking, one of the things that I think is the most important for me is how your people are going to be the conduit for that. So let's talk about your people. And I want to do that in a couple of ways because I love your crew and gotten to cook with them, gotten to hang with them. So Ryan Sylvester, really one of the people that leads your kitchen, and I'll let you talk about some of the other team because they've been with you for a long time. I very much know that once again, Josh Niernberg is only going to be the one that holds the space that allows the opportunity for everybody else to get shit done in the way that they do because they have the talent and they have the commitment to you because you've built a community. So how do you see the concept coming together? And let's use real people, like the people that are actually doing it, how they're contributing to that. And then I also want to dig into a little bit kind of the way that you guys play with products. Is you guys play. When you guys cook, you guys play. And it's so fun to watch. So kind of like take us down that road a little bit with your crew and developing Ben Burger and kind of evolving within, knowing that your team is doing a lot of heavy lifting. This is not just Josh Niernberg. Your team is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Well, let's back up on that team. So you mentioned Ryan Sylvester, Danielle Henricks, Nakia Gray, Mike Winston, Miles Blackford, Barbie Graham, Adam Everts. Those are the key players in this conversation. Adam Everts has previously been running the kitchen at Taco Party. Yep. He has 0 previous cooking experience to starting a Taco Party. Ryan previously was culinary director with Kia, Danielle, and Mike all handling the Ben kitchen for an all day, you know, basically production, AM and PM crew. So that's completely changed. So the first move that I did was to put Ryan at Taco Party. So now I've got Ryan and Adam at Taco Party. So if Ryan is our culinary director, he's now overseeing, you know, $15,000 a week of taco sales at $12 a taco. We are so overgeared, and like I showed you this. The Taco Party kitchen is like a Ferrari, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
And I've got a Camry. I've got like a 4-cylinder pushing a giant, you know, seat 6. Taco Party, we've got a monster of a kitchen that can do anything. So now I've got Adam and Ryan just can execute anything on the fly, pivot hard, you know, whether it's printing logos for a salsa that they're doing for packaging to get out that day, they're fire. They're just crushing. And we did that so that could put me back in bin kitchen as chef. Okay. So Kia is our lead production at bin and has been for some time. And Kia, Ryan, and I are the three nerds that have run all of our fermentation projects in the past. Yes. So we basically have Kia running everything and all the production at bin. We've got Ryan running everything, all the production at Taco Party. I've been rewriting the menus at bin and cooking line every day for the last 2.5 months. And now I'm trying to do that while opening Bin Burger and writing a new menu, everything there. Barbie Graham has turned into our beverage director. She's now taking over batch cocktails for 3 different concepts. Every one of those cocktails is brand specific, is ingredient specific, is regionally specific, is unique to us at super low price points so that we can move on a competitive level to what the liquor stores are able to do. Miles Blackburn, who has been the general manager at Bin, who came on as a production cook in 2012 and has been general manager for probably 5 years, 6 years now. He is now taking over all of the setup of all 3 of the restaurants so that our online presence and our interface online is strong. Right? Like we figured out, thankfully we changed POS systems, but we changed to the Toast POS system, I think in January.
Okay.
And by March, I've got gift certificates for sale through Instagram on 3 different accounts. I'm able to do, scheduled online orders for deliveries 2 months out. I'm able to sell, schedule a pickup for a allocated bottle of whiskey for, 3 weeks out. And stuff that we've never even thought about having to do. All of a sudden, I've got my general manager at Bin is now our lead IT tech guru that's just crushing.
Who was a cook a few years before?
Who has a culinary school degree.
Yeah.
Before starting our team in the kitchen, right? Which I think at this point the only person I haven't spoken of is Danielle, who. Oh, I suppose Danielle and Mike. So Mike is going to continue on as CDC at the Bin Kitchen when we open for dinner. And then Danielle will come and take over the Bin Burger Kitchen. So of this team that was previously 2 restaurants, we're now front and back of house for 3 different concepts. Thank God for apps like Slack that allow us to actually communicate with the team. As much as I absolutely hate the Slack notification, man, we'd be dead in the water without it. But
I love it.
Yeah, pivot is an understatement. I'm so sick of that term of pivoting that quite literally all of us at this point are just like, what's today going to bring? What rabbit hole am I going to have to go down and come back up with something, to get through today? And 2 months. What's that?
Well, you guys embracing technology, I think, is amazing. I think also, when I hear you say all these things, it sounds completely crazy. Be like, how are you guys moving all these pieces around the chessboard? But knowing your people and understanding, like, they're so game, I'm sure, that I'm not surprised at all that you guys are moving so effortlessly. I say effortlessly. It's not effortless, but it's a seamless and it flows because you guys just understand each other. You guys have been dancing and playing for so long that you almost don't need to talk. It's like, you got it? Good, go. Like, you just move people around really, really seamlessly. And so I think it's really great. I also understand completely that they are so bought in. You probably have to spend no time convincing them. They probably are coming to you, say, hey, here's 3 other ideas for solutions. First, is that the case? And then if so, what is that like as an owner and operator to know you have that strong foundation of people hustling and getting grimy and pivoting to make shit work?
I think that all of us in the industry, and especially this crew that I've just mentioned, this is kind of what we do, right? We're going to be doing it one way or the other. And right now we're all bored out of our minds with no customers.
Yeah.
And all of us want more customers. None of us want to be stuck at home. I mean, I don't think there's a person in the positions they were furloughed. You know, we're in this environment, taking care of each other, making something happen every day. And it's pretty rewarding. Depressing as the outlook may be on some days. Small victories are super rewarding. But it's been a good couple of years. I mean, again, we go back to 2017 was such a good point for us. We opened Taco Party, pushed Taco Party, and then I quite literally made a deliberate decision to go out and get media attention. Joined Colorado 5, Denver 5, started cooking every event there was. And it worked. And when we did that, I had to rely on that team to continue to innovate and to continue to push stuff. And as that's continued on, I mean, it's created more those freedoms, and, you know, just creative exploration. Say, hey, we want to try this. Go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But you know, let me bring it to you. Fermentation stuff, 2014, 2015. You know, now he's growing, you know, colored substrates to use for sourdoughs for dyed breads. And
amazing.
Stuff that, like, yeah, sure, that bread is blue. You could make blue bread, but the way he made that blue bread was like starting a fermentation of another product that he then cultivated that to turn into the starter for that bread. Like, I still haven't seen something like that happening, and he's doing that on top of his regular workload at Ben. You know, we'll be going through service and breaking down, you know, tiny porchettas or breaking down chickens, and then he pulls the cover off of a bright purple 80% hydration sourdough that he's about to fire off, just kind of.
Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it, Josh. Hold on. Technology's failing us again. One more time. Here we go. And then we'll bring it home. This is par for the course, man. Hey, well, I like how you reset. You hat on, hat off. It's like a wardrobe change moment for us. So, yeah, fermentation, man. We could do a whole nother show about fermentation. I think it's something that is so near and dear to both of us. Or the brewed food shirt, just in memory of cooking with you guys, fermenting a bunch of stuff, a bunch of bounty from the Western Slope. And so I want to end with this. I have a bone to pick right now with my friends at the James Beard Foundation. The finalist list just came out. They just announced those. And unfortunately, you and Ben, who were semifinalists, were not on the finalist list. And I know for you, it doesn't matter to the degree of you being upset about that because you should be nominated over another person. I know that. However, I want to let people know that, again, this is such an important ethos that you have, the way that you're investing in people, the boxes that you check that we're highlighting right now, and just a few of them are so much more important than what goes on the plate. They are absolutely the foundation of hospitality. They are what should be celebrated. It's why we call them unsung hospitality heroes. Like, the award for it is you should have a certain caliber of food and service and drink, and you guys do. No doubt about it. It's why you're semifinalists. To me, then, the depth of understanding who deserves an award becomes the expression of the people that work within that business. And the fact that you just mentioned all that team, the fact that they've been with you for years and years and years, like, that to me needs to be somehow understood. The fact that your team and farmers would be the ones to highlight your accolades over, say, media, matters to me a lot. And when you think about the people whose voices are a part of any kind of award system, it's not those unsung hospitality heroes. It's not the farmers, because if that was the case, you guys would have won in 2012. Like, you would have already won. You'd be up for best restaurant of the year, not just best chef or mountain or Rocky Mountain or whatever. So I just wanted to say that. I don't know if there's a question in there, But I just want to like give you a moment to just reflect on, that as far as you guys go, because I know it'd be important for you to at least be able to have your team know that their work and their commitment was understood and it was celebrated by the structure that's in place currently for the way that we like view our position in the industry.
Yeah, thanks.
I know I embarrassed you again.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing to talk about and even kind of consider the all of it. But for me, I think you and I had spoken previously, and I think my reaction to it is one more of anger than of disappointment. And maybe that's turned more into disappointment now, but the fact of the matter is that, next year, Ben could be considered an American classic. And the cooking that we're doing, we've been doing since we started. So to have a semifinalist nomination for a region, that's the mountain region, to me, makes me feel as though the James Beard Foundation is interested in exploring the region and the cuisine of the region, and that's what we do. And that's the only thing that we've ever done. And we've done it to the point that we've had to deliberately go out and get in front of the media because we don't have food media here and promote what we do. And the end goal for us, and my end goal has been for years, to secure a semifinalist nomination. Nothing past that, no expectations. If I was able to secure a Southwestern region semifinalist nomination, what that means is that all of the work that all of us do is now made a little bit more justified by the James Beard Foundation, and it creates a kitchen that people don't want to leave Grand Junction to move to the Front Range or somewhere else for, because they're working for a recognized kitchen that they can continue to grow from that, right? So look at this year, I finally got that nomination. It's now the mountain region, which is, quite literally what we do. We're showcasing the mountain region all day, every day. These are taco party tacos on the skateboard behind us. I can tell you where every one of those ingredients came from. And these ingredients and that food is representative for where we are in the world. To think that through this time between long list of semifinalists and short list of finalists, we've been in this COVID mess. We haven't allowed any tourism within our state. I can assure you that we haven't fed any of the peer group within that time frame. It's, to me, feels like from the James Beard Foundation, it was just such a poorly timed way to go about this. And I understand that they're trying to do it for positive change. But what, the reaction, my reaction of anger came first as a reaction of, significant amount of depression from saying, here we are fighting tooth and nail all day, every day to keep our employees on, to keep our restaurants open, to continue to try to support our farmers and our community and everything else that we're doing. And we found out in the middle of it that we're not good enough. And, it's not that I don't think we're good enough. I know what we're doing here. You know what we're doing here. I know the people that probably don't know what we're doing here are the people that are responsible for making that list. So this has nothing to do with every other completely deserving finalist on that list. This has to do with me coming to the understanding that I don't have that push. I don't have that time. I can't financially go after getting the recognition that it takes for me to step into that spotlight to go after this ever again, which means we've gone as far as we're going to go. So the first thing that I did after a day or two of kind of understanding, what had happened, was to literally go and apologize to everyone of that list that I had just mentioned, to say, guys, we pushed as hard as we could. I thought we would go farther. I'm sorry that we didn't. And the beautiful part is none of them seem to care at all. Yeah. So what that says is that what we're doing is we're doing it because we love to do it, not for those awards, despite, those awards are one of the things that keeps us viable.
Yeah, and for me, what's interesting beyond the award or it being the recognition that's needed, what I really think is important if food justice, social justice are a part of James Beard and a lot of the movements that we're really cultivating right now is I think about those unsung hospitality heroes working at the restaurants across the country in the cities where the attention is, to your point, and they are fucking struggling. They are so passionate, love what they're doing, but they don't have two nickels to rub together because of how challenging the business model is. You've created very much a different business model. 50% labor is a very different business model. If the James Beard Award came to you and you guys won the James Beard Award, all of a sudden somebody in New York City, in Miami, in Los Angeles, who's like, God, I love cooking. I just can't do it anymore. We've talked about it. One of my dreams is I want 65-year-old line cooks to be getting ready to retire in our kitchens as the status quo, the normal, because we have built an infrastructure and invested in people to the level that is just matter of fact in the way we do that. That doesn't fucking exist. There are no 65-year-old line cooks because they've been chummed up. And so that's the thing. All of a sudden people go, wow, there's like legit food in Grand Junction, Colorado, and I could like buy a house as like a line cook. That to me, I think is the most compelling thing that I want to find a way to take into the equation, the human capital that we deploy in our businesses, because they are the part of the sum that equals what's on the plate. That is the layer that we have not gotten to in the industry. And that is the bone that I have to pick, because that's where we need to get. And James Beard does have a responsibility to be leading that effort, just like you are, but you're a humble chef and restaurant owner in Grand Junction, Colorado. You need help from the whole ecosystem. And it feels like you were let down in this moment, because it could have been an opportunity to send a message to the industry. And so that's what I really appreciate about kind of what you're doing. So we're going to wrap it up. Any last thoughts that you might have before I let you go and go make some on the line?
Let me comment on that, Jensen. You know, I think the James Beard Foundation, everybody, and what we're doing here, I think if there is a takeaway message, especially with regional redistricting, there's good food everywhere. And what we're doing here is people have the ability to do all over the place, right? And the message, if there was a message that we're trying to promote, is that, you know, if you're a chef, if you're a restaurant operator, etc., get out of the hustle and bustle and, you know, use a smaller community as a way to set up a sustainable version of that business. That's our goal. That's been our goal since 2008 when we wrote that business plan, and it's proving to work. But it's not celebrated, it's not talked about, and it's just, to me, it's a huge disappointment that I thought that we had seen the signals that regional cuisine was going to be, you know, celebrated countrywide, and it still just seems that it's not quite working like that.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to fucking let up. So you can count on me at least, my friend, because you definitely have the most Colorado cuisine restaurant out there. And it's because of the products, the people, the process that you're putting into place. It's not because it's XYZ dish. Like, we're never going to be beignets and etouffee of New Orleans or New York style pizza, or we don't have that. We're not going to be the tacos of Southern California as just cemented dishes that are iconically representing the cuisine. It's going to be about the products, the farmers, the connection to the land that I think Colorado can distinguish itself. So you're doing that, and not only that, you're doing it in a fucking cool way, man, with the skateboard, and the brand is strong. I love it, man. I really appreciate the conversation, man. I want to get you back to the line at Ben so you can get that therapy, because I know it's important to you. So thank you so much. And tell me and everybody hi to the team. And we'll get them all tagged up, because I love that we get to acknowledge them.
Absolutely. Me as well. Thank you.
All right, brother. Talk to you later. Be good.
You too. Take care.
The best. The end. Like, I'm just going to quit now. He's the best. If you don't know, now you know. Look up Ben. Josh Niernberg is my favorite. Doesn't mean he's the best. I did say he's the best. He's the best. Doesn't mean somebody else is not as good, but he's the best. The best is its own level, and he is at that level. The way that he invests in people, the way that he invests in farmers and products and the community is second to none, and the food is so damn good. And I mean it. Like, I want people from New York City to be like, Oh, I'm going to go work for a James Beard Award-winning restaurant. Amazing. Where? Grand Junction, Colorado. That will change the industry in a massive way. How do you do it? You invest in your people, 50% labor. You figure out the economics around the most important thing, why and who before what and how. I love it. All right. Appreciate you all. Tomorrow's episode, excited. We are launching, we did kind of a first little teaser episode, but we're launching Best Served High, HIGH, Hospitality Industry Good Health. We're going to be talking in that channel with a lot of people who have industry experience, who now find themselves in a side hustle or a new experience that's focused on health, wellness, finding some balance, fitness, all of those type things, because I think there's an opportunity for us to have a conversation about it. Me personally, I'll share a lot of my own trials, and I don't know if I have any triumphs, but trials for sure, tribulations about finding that spot where I could have been if I had had that level of support, a 65-year-old line cook retiring. Larry, I see you saying you're 67. I guess you are a line cook a lot of days, so I can appreciate that. I want that to become the norm. And I think talking about Josh and the business model and the way you can invest in people is one important way to restructure the business model. The other is for us to think about our people and the way that we support them through wages, benefits, culture, and education. Those levers of balancing out people, the humans in hospitality, is going to be important. All right, long episode. Appreciate you guys. I will see you tomorrow, noon Mountain. Oh, Betsy, my wife, Jensen Cummings, is going to be on. She's going to talk about her journey as the Hearty Mama and what that kind of means, going from working in restaurants herself to being in a restaurant family and seeing me beat the crap out of myself over years and trying to find a way back when it came to our health and wellness as a family. All right, everybody. Appreciate you.